Hey, everybody, and welcome to another live episode of The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby. I am very excited to have my buddy Matt Kloskowski here on the show today. Matt,
what's up?
Well, we're so glad to hear. Matt and I started this show 6 years ago.
Really?
Dude, we started it 6 years ago.
There's no way, because I have not aged, and nor have you.
Actually,
I
have. You have not, you brat. No, you look exactly the same, by the way.
That's because I'm not turning to the side. That gets all gray over there.
I don't know.
Dude, I have more gray than you. I do.
And you know what? People go, do you dye your hair? I'll tell you this. I have zero. I would dye my hair in a heartbeat. I don't. I'm getting a little gray here on the sides. Yeah. And Calibra likes it. Calibre's like, when you go gray, I'm going to love it. And I'm like, I keep trying to get it to go. But, But, Juan gives me gray hair sometimes. So that's, Anyway, we're so glad to have you here, Matt. Thank you for coming on. We have a great topic today. I'm going to tell you what our topic is real quick. Our topic is why so many pro photographers choose Macs over PCs. And so that's going to be our topic today. So call your friends, tell everyone we're going to do that. I just got a couple things to get out of the way because we got a lot to cover today. I want to make sure we get into it quickly. I want to give you a quick walk on a quick update. That's what I'm looking for.
A quick walk down update lane.
Update on the Worldwide Photo Walk. Are you leading a walk this year? It's not too late,
I'm not. I don't think I'm here. It's in October, right?
Right. Where are you going to be?
All of October is gone.
Great. Wherever you're doing it, do a photo walk.
I could do one there.
Do one there, man. I'm doing one in Lisbon, so you could do one anywhere. Here we go.
I'm not going to be in Lisbon.
Hey, wherever you're going to be, I guarantee instant approval. There are 701 photo walks already published. We have 63 people who have been approved for walks. Actually have set up walks, but they haven't released them yet. So they're done. And then we have over, I think, 1,062 walks completely approved. We just got to get people to fill out your forms and release your walk so people can start signing up. We have over 8,000 registered walkers. That's a lot of walks. Hey, this early, that's a lot of walks. All right. And Canon has stepped up big time. They're one of our big sponsors. They've stepped up big time. Adobe just came on as a sponsor. Adobe's doing all kinds of cool stuff. So lots of fun stuff, lots of great contests and giveaways and stuff. Okay. Giveaways at the end of the show. We got some good giveaways. I will give you what's in here, man. It is not an Altoid. It is not an Altoid, but you will love. It was
like little mints.
No, it is not mints, Matt. And now we're going to give away 2 of these on the show today. It says The Grid on it. You ready? Because you particularly are going to love this.
I know what it is. Don't tell me.
Here you go.
Guitar picks?
Yes, Grid guitar picks. I'm going to give you 2 of them. I know. There you go. Hey, Matt is a hell of a guitar player, by the way. And he's recently got back into guitar, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I stopped for like 25 years. I started playing again like 6 months ago.
All right, let's do our giveaway. So we're giving away some picks. You will share a pick in common with Matt. And then we are giving away a Platypod Ultra, one of these bad boys right here. Yes. Do you have a Platypod?
I do. Hold on. Can I hold it for a second?
Yeah, you may.
There we go. Hi, Larry. I got Larry a picture, me holding it up. So.
Yep, there it is. Greatest ever. Hey,
yeah, very cool.
Can I tell you something? I'll be taking one of these to Lisbon on my walk with me. Absolutely, hands down. Yeah. It's so small. How can you not take it? All right, so it is the ultimate. It's not a tripod, but it's like a tripod, but better. You're also getting the accessory kit, which has many, many accessories. Which the accessories are actually cooler than you think. We're also going to give away the big bad boy. This is for the pros.
The Max?
The Max. The Platypod Max.
Here, I'll get that all nice and neat.
This is the monster. Thank you for cleaning up.
There we go.
All right. So that is awesome. A Lens ProtoGo gift card. Let's ask Matt for an unsolicited testimony. How do you like Lens ProtoGo?
Oh, dude, I love Lens ProtoGo.
Everybody loves it.
That's where whenever I got a rent, that's what I go to.
That's where I go to. In fact, I just got an email from them. I have to return something. All right. Now, I don't know how I got overdue, but I did. All right. I just want to show you something you're not going to win, but all those are at the end of the show. And we're going to give away my brand new book, which has to do with this right here. So my publisher, Rocky Nook, sent me these today for my birthday. Now, my birthday is not today, but it took a little while to get these done. It's my new book. It's called The Flash Book. And I've got Flash Book Custom Vans.
That's something I really never thought I'd see.
I know. Neither did I. I opened them up and I was so tickled. I'm like, I didn't know stores sold Flash Book Vans. Like you can go and buy these in the store. Just go to any Vans and there's the flat, right? No.
There's been many, many things that have been given away on this show that.
No. I'm not giving this away.
Oh,
no, these are mine.
You should wear it for your photo wall.
Hello. Anyway, no, I could wear these for my phone.
You
Be kind of blatant. Anyway, we're not giving away the shoes, but we are going to give away a signed copy of the Flash book, which is it goes to press when, Kim? Tonight? No, Kim just gave me a crazy face. Friday? Oh, Kim just blacked out. It's going to press very soon, though, right?
Sometime in the near future.
Kim gave me a thumbs up. It's very, very soon. All right, so that's coming up. I have one last thing, right? Because we had lots of friends here today. I see Piotr's here from London. Yo, Piotr. Jeff May's here. Loopy Bridget
Chicky
from
Nando
Charlotte.
from Lisbon.
Cheeky Nando says hello to Scott and Matt K. Good evening from sunny Lisbon, Portugal. Alex is here. He says, it's Matt. Hey, Scott and Matt. Kevin Scott says, better late than ever. Howdy, y'all. Dalton is here. By the way, Dalton, the man responsible for the grid mints. Matt, you need to have a mint. No, you need to have a pick. All right, let's see. Hi, Matt and Scott from Deb. Mark. Okay, all these people, awesome people here, and the crew is here. The whole crew is here, all right? Jock's here. Clinton Ferrara. Hi, Matt and Scott. Hey, Clinton. I got to have lunch with Clinton. And
did you?
Awesome guy. Very good photographer.
Not what I heard.
Todd's here. The other Jen's here. Everybody's here. Okay. I got to give a shout out to myself. Ready? Check out my shirt today. All right. This is a custom shirt. And let me tell you why I had to make this. So I went online. There it is. Thank you. This is the British Air Force roundel, or the British Air Force insignia that you see on the side of British Air Force planes, right? So the Who used it one year. And if you go online, you can buy shirts. And I had one. And I had a shirt, but all the circles, it's missing the yellow band, which is what really makes it the British roundel. Missing the yellow band. And you guys have seen me wear it on the show. Every time I wear it, people go, oh, that's a Target. No, they just say it's a Target.
Yeah.
Are you wearing it? It's not a Target. But when you put the yellow thing on, they go, oh, it's a British plane. There you go. Shout out to the British Air Force. You know what I did? I made this in Adobe Illustrator. I went to Google. I pulled down a picture of a World War II British plane. I made it the exact same. Like, I made it all the same dimensions. Once a year, I go into Illustrator whether I need to or not. And I did it vector. And that's what I'm wearing today. This is a tribute to all of my British friends who are watching today. So shout out to you guys. Let's see what else. That's it. All right, ready for today's topic?
I'm ready.
All right, now let me tell you why I thought it was awesome to have Matt on the show here. Because Matt is a former PC user, and Matt and I and Bill Fortney went on a trip out to Arizona. Now, at the time we did this, Matt was a, I don't want to just say a PC user. Matt was a diehard PC user. And so Bill was a Mac user, I was a Mac user, and we spent 3 days driving through Arizona and Utah with Matt arguing with us why a Mac was no better, that there's no way, it's the same stuff. He was like, I don't see what could be different. And it's like, he just went on and on and on. So I was like, when I was doing this show, I was like, Matt, you got to come on for this one.
Yeah, that was me.
Because Matt, and he did. I mean, we argued for 3 solid days. Like, it would just be driving, be quiet in the car. And no one's talking. Because we're like driving forever.
And he would just go, Macs are better.
and Matt would go, I just don't get it. Explain it to me again. And he's just like, it's a very hard thing to explain, but where this topic comes from is a guy pinged me this question on Facebook, and I have his name here. His name's Matt Berger. And Matt wrote, here's what he wrote. He said, Scott Kelby, do you have any videos or classes on Kelby One that deal with Mac versus PC for photographers? I'm getting ready to buy a new computer, and I've always wondered why pro photographers prefer Macs. So I wanted to write him back, right? But then I thought, this is not something you can do in a tweet, and it's not something you can do in a Facebook post. So that's why I thought I'm going to try to answer his question back in a more meaningful way. But
and just so I think just to frame it out there for everybody, because it's not just that question. Like, I'm sure you're like me, dude. I don't want to say I get a ton every week, but I would say I get a solid 4 to 5 of these questions every week. Whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whether it's email, whatever, in whatever form, I always get somebody that says, why is everybody using a Mac, or is it better? I'm thinking about buying a Mac. Should I? All these different things. So it's not just that person, because
this is a common question.
It's a very, very common question.
Now, what I want to do today is I want to make a couple of things clear. is if you're here watching this today, and you're not one of just our regulars who comes in because you're just awesome. Cheeky Nando says, I want to know if I know I would have sent you Lisbon calling van. Hey, I don't own too many vans. Now I own 2 pair, right? So this one, my son got me a pair, and these ones. But anyway, so I want you to understand this. If you're watching today, I'm hoping that you actually really want to hear hear why pros use it, right? And this is absolutely not to tell you that you made a bad decision if you buy a Mac. It's not. I mean, if you bought a PC. It is absolutely not that. So if you're thinking I'm going to go, oh, well, you bought a PC, that you're a loser. It's nothing like that whatsoever. In fact, today's really not about that at all. But there is the thing, and Matt, I'm just going to, we didn't really get any show prep today. So, you've been to conferences. You go to a photography conference and there's 20 instructors. How many of the 20 instructors at any given contrast are on Mac?
Yeah. No,
how many?
It's
18 out of 20,
yeah, 18
17,
or 19.
Or 19.
Yeah. And I also think part of it too is that anybody watching this, you're not going to get a spec by spec sheet to say at the end of the show, oh, I should buy a Mac.
No.
I think if it helps anybody, it's just, I think what you're going to hear are it's not going to be your photo's going to be better. It's not that your photo works better, that your photography doesn't increase.
It's something
else.
Your
emails, your productivity doesn't change. It's just, if you're looking for anything, I think you're going to find that there's so many little reasons that are not going to be on a spec sheet.
And a big overarching reason too.
Yeah.
But he's right. And so this is what I would like you to do up front. And this is really important if we're going to actually have a reasonable conversation about this. You have to forget about specs. Completely forget about specs. Here's why. Macs are fast, PCs are fast. I'll be the first one to tell you, Adobe software runs no better on my Mac than it does on a Windows machine. They're all fast. Windows isn't faster, Mac isn't faster, they're all the same. And if one's faster, it's 2% faster, but it depends on your graphics card and this and that, the other. Forget specs. Forget the pricing. We know Macs are generally more expensive, right? We know that, as we come out of the box.
Generally is an understatement.
Yeah, completely forget about specs. So don't anybody write about specs. If somebody says, well, I can configure a PC for whatever, okay, you win. You can leave now.
Yeah.
You guys police the chat. If someone starts coming in there and say, well, I could buy a PC or, it's not about that. And can I tell you what? This is, I think, at the core of why people don't understand why pro photographers use Macs. Because what happens is people that aren't Mac users, the very first thing they want to do is look at specs. This conversation today has zero to do with specs. So get that out of your head. Don't anybody bring that up as a comment or as a topic. Macs are fast. Windows are fast. We're going to agree that as far as speed goes, they are essentially the same. And Adobe software does not run better, as best as I can tell, on a Mac than it does on a Windows. It all runs, it's all fast, it's all good except for Bridge, which is always bad on every platform. Am I right, Matt? Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right, there we go. All right, now.
But it is free.
Right. Now, a couple other things. We're laying down the rules for today. Number one, you're not allowed to say, oh, you guys are just Mac fanboys. There are PC fanboys. All a fanboy means is, and what I think a fanboy is to me, is someone who will not excuse anything bad. Now, I complain about my Apple Watch. Nobody complained more about my Apple Watch. So, and I mostly like it, but there are things I absolutely hate about it. A fanboy will not say anything negative about an Apple product, right? And there are people like that, just like there are people who will not say anything negative about a Microsoft or a Dell product or whatever. So don't bring up the word fanboys because it is completely irrelevant to what we're talking about today. That's number one. Number two, you have to kind of understand professional photographers are not stupid. All right, we're not like, I don't know, I'll just get a Mac because I don't know what to do. Hey, Earl, what do you got over there? All right, so it's because people will also say, well, you don't do any research. If you did any research, what does this mean? Specs. You're going back to specs. All right. So, like somebody today, when I wrote, said, "Hey, we're going to do this topic today." Of course, somebody went on Facebook, and what did they say? One word:
lemmings,
sheep.
Sure.
Yes, same thing. Sheep, lemmings. Basically, you all are so stupid. You'll just follow the crowd. Guess what? The crowd is on Windows. The vast majority of users in the world are on Windows. So if you're going to follow the crowd, you would be following Windows. Everyone's not doing it just because everybody else did. It's not. Now, the other thing is, and this is important, Apple does not pay us or anybody else to do it. Anytime I say something good about a Mac, literally, people start showing up and going, Apple must be, how much is Apple paying you? Why are they paying you so much?
Do you know anybody that's getting paid by Apple?
I have never met a person in my life. No.
I never have. I seriously don't know anybody that's getting paid by Apple.
Never met a person that said, hey, you know what? I was paid to be in this forum and say good things about Apple. I get $100 a week or whatever. Never, not once. But here's what I've learned about talking about topics like this. And this is, I want you guys, remember, you're having open minds today. This is Open Mind Wednesday. Basically, if you're a Mac user, and I say something good about the Mac, you're watching at home and you go, oh yeah. If you're a Windows user and I say something you disagree with, the first thing you say is, well, they must be getting paid.
Yeah.
I disagree with what you said. He must be getting paid. Obviously, a shill for Adobe, he's a shill for Apple. Nobody pays me to say, I wish somebody paid me to say something good. I would love to find a sponsor that just goes, say good stuff about our crap.
Oh, yeah,
I'd be all over that. But anyway, it doesn't happen. In real life, people don't really pay you. I mean, maybe somebody on Instagram gets paid. But you know what, though?
Those days
I know, but anybody with any integrity.
Yeah.
Like for example, I will only talk about products that I use myself and I love. I'm not talking about products that are crap. You know how many companies have contacted me over the years and said, would you take a look at this? And I go, yeah, I'm not talking about this, bro. If I'm not using it and I don't think it's good, I'm not going to talk about it, period. You're the exact same way. Because what we are, what's the word? Credibility is way more important than any particular vendor. So just understand today, Apple is not paying us. Wish they were, but they're not. All right. Now, the last thing is, another thing I see when you read this discussion is at the end, somebody goes, oh, well, it all comes down to personal preference. If it was all personal preference, why do so many photographers prefer Mac? Why do so many pros? Why do you go to these conferences and everyone's using a Mac? You go to Photoshop World, if there's 30 instructors, 28 of them are using Mac.
Yeah.
So why is it that the personal preference is that? And that's what we're going to talk about right after this break. Don't go away. Cliffhanger.
Dun, dun, dun.
British Roundel. Cliffhanger.
Bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. My name is Serge Emily. I'm a French photographer living in Los Angeles. And in this class for Kelby 1, I'm going to show you my full workflow on cityscapes. I've been shooting cityscape for 13 years. I'm going to show you my best secrets on how to take the photos, at what time of the day you should take the photo, how to compose them, how to play around with frame in a frame, leading lines, foreground, middle ground, background elements to really forward a message that's very strong. We're going to do some HDR on a single RAW file. We're going to do some sky replacements. We're going to do a lot of panoramas. This class is going to take your cityscape to the next level. So check out my class only on kelby1.com.
Well, hey everybody, my name is Matt Kloskowski. I want to welcome you to Mount Rainier National Park. Look around this place, it's got everything. And that's really why I picked it for a landscape photography class, because there's a little bit of everything of what we can shoot. From the mountains, to the waterfalls, to the wildflowers that really only bloom for a very specific time in the year. What we're going to do throughout this class is we're going to put together all of the planning that went into the trip. So I'll show you exactly how I plan, how I start to visualize things and figure out where I want to start shooting. From there, we're going to jump in and just get out there and shoot. My hope is when you're done with this class, no matter where you're going, even if it's not Mount Rainier, you'll be able to take all the tips, all the techniques, all the shooting that we do here and apply it to your own photos so that you know that you're gonna go home with some great keepers. I'm Matt Kloskowski. Check out my landscape photography class at Mount Rainier National Park over on Kelby1.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Hansen, photographer and director. My transition from chef to photographer started when I was a private chef. I Googled photography training and up came Kelby One. Learned about how to use a strobe, how to run your business. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. That first step for me was Kelby One.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Tamron, professional photographic lenses.
All right, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski, and our topic today is You Said Something. No, it's not You Said Something. It is, I have to have it written down.
How to get paid by Apple.
No, it is called Why So Many Pro Photographers Choose Macs Over PCs. And this is based on a question I received on my, on my Facebook page is what they call it.
Page.
Before we get to that, just real quickly. So Matty K,
Yes, sir.
you're doing training? Well, duh.
Go.
All right, where can people go learn about your stuff?
MattK.com.
Matt K. And then later we'll talk about how Matt got freaking Matt K. All right.
You should have gotten MattyK.com.
All right. Now, you did a thing about the Eclipse, right? So about post-processing your Eclipse pictures?
Post-processing, yeah.
All right.
If you scroll down a little, there it is.
Oh, there it is right there. Now, did you take that Eclipse picture?
No.
That doesn't happen in Florida, does it?
No.
In Florida, we did not get a full one. But Matt invited a whole ton of people to send in their pictures, and he did a whole thing on how to edit your so. Go to mattk.com, check that out, and all of his love.
I got the idea because something came through my feed, and it was just like, I'm like, oh my God. This person is showing you how to shoot the Eclipse. I'm like, there's literally nobody in the world that's not showing you how to shoot the Eclipse.
The whole world is.
And then I started looking up for a tutorial and like to see who does those composites. Where you get all the different phases. Dude, I couldn't find one.
Well, I found one. It's at mattk.com. All right. So let's go back to our topic here real quickly. Okay. So here's where we are. We have all somebody wrote something cute here. Singh says, I can't remember the last time I agreed to something so many times in a row. Yeah, because you know what it is? I don't want to have the same discussion that everybody has about this, right? I don't want to make it about mine's more stable or mine does this or mine does that. It's not about what the computer does. It really it really isn't. Rubino Wen, hi Rubino, says, I've thought about switching from PC, but I'm scared of not knowing how to use a Mac. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And anyway, so
can I repeat it, or did you have? Can we repeat it real quick too?
I'm going to read his in context.
Because I got something. Yeah, because I can.
So, all right. So here's where we're at. I think now I'm going to give you a number of different reasons, but I think the number one is if I had to be asked, and I have been asked in the past, including by Microsoft, I had Microsoft ask me, why are so many pro photographers on Macs? And when I tell you this, you have to really hear out the entire thing because you're going to want to dismiss it to one sentence. But this is a much bigger thing to try to get your head around. Basically, it's this. It is photographers are drawn to the Mac because it is a tool that speaks to artists and creatives. This right here, this is the tool we create our art with. Part of it's done with the camera. This is the other part of our tool. It's just like if you're a painter and you have a canvas and a brush, right? You have two different things. Both of these are the tools that we create. This is it. This is the tool. And I'm going to show you an example in a minute that'll help you get your head around why this is different. But I'm going to tell you, I was at Microsoft one day. I was at Microsoft, and that question came up. And you guys may have heard me tell this story before, but I'm at Microsoft and we're talking, and the question came up exactly this: Why are so many Macintosh users, so many pro photographers using a Mac? And they did not understand it. They straight up like, I don't get it. We have the speed. We got a great OS. Why is it? And so the guy beside me had a Dell laptop. I picked up the bottom of his Dell laptop. Now, if you will indulge me for a moment, I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to type Dell laptop bottom. All right. And we'll just hit over to images. Now I'm going to go to I don't know, video control room 2, because that's where video control rooms like to be. So we're just on Google. All right. So this is what you get. These are all bottoms of Dell laptops, right? And you see serial numbers and vents and fans and all kinds of stuff, right? So this is, I went to Google. I did it as we spoke here, and I typed in the bottom of a Dell laptop. Nothing against Dell. Dell makes wonderful laptops. All right? So
Ready.
Take a look, guys.
Ready.
Here's what the bottom of a Mac looks like. This
Yours
stuff
has a lot of
matters to
fingerprints
us.
on it.
This is the tool of an artist. That stuff matters to us. So when we look at a computer and it looks like that on the bottom, that tells a photographer, this wasn't made for me. How it looks is the most important thing to us. And I'm not just talking about the box. It is one part of it. But how it looks is huge. We're visual people. This is the tool we create with. Like my wife will go to an art store and she like tries to pick these special brushes that she likes. Like she's a painter. And like my daughter also draws, and she wants these special markers that are just awesome and they feel great in her hand and all. Will any paintbrush paint?
Oh yeah.
Sure they will. Do you have to buy a really, really nice one? You do if you care about your tool. And the reason why so many photographers, they look at this, and I'm going to show you a great example. If we can look on my screen again. And this is going to tell you it all. Because I had a call with Microsoft about this very topic. Actually, not with Microsoft, with their ad agency. And they wanted to know, what can we do to make photographers want a Surface? And I said, let's go look at your pen. I started right here. I said, this is your pen. This is the tool for artists. Look at it. And now you got to realize I'm on a conference call with her. And I go, this is a piece of crap. This looks like a tool for an engineering student. Yeah. It's got a nerd clip on it. It's got the little clip where you put it in your pocket. Artists don't have a pocket. You don't put the pen in your pocket. Now, go look at the Apple Pencil. That's the tool of an artist. It's sleek. It's thin.
Simple.
Do you know that it weighs 0.14? So it weighs a little over 1/10 of an ounce. Did you know that this one weighs a pound?
What?
Now, if you want the tablet-enabled one, it is literally, you can look right here on the page. It's a pound.
Holy.
1 pound. 1 pound. And if you get the one that isn't tablet-enabled, it is still double the weight of the Apple Pencil. And when you look at the Apple Pencil, or go look at a Wacom, right? You look at it and you go, they care. Guys, do you know how many years this pen has been around? Do you know how many years it's been out? They've seen the Apple Pencil. They've seen the Wacom pens. Why didn't Microsoft go and change it? Because they don't care about artists. They don't get artists. They don't understand. To them, it's a utility. This is a tool. It's a pen. Why does it have to look great?
And that's not it's not a bad thing. Like you can't say, oh, they don't. They're saying we don't care about it, which is fine because they have other things that they do care about and that people like them for. But they're by saying we don't care about it. When you ask that question, why do so many photographers do? That's why. Apple cares about it. That's probably one of the biggest things it comes down to.
Exactly. That pen, that's what you create with. That's what you retouch with. It's what you draw with. That's your tool. And Microsoft goes, oh, it's for engineers. It's for pens. You know what we'll do? We'll make it easy to slip in the pocket. We'll just put it right there. They're thinking utility and we're thinking art. So now you have a company, Apple, that is so concerned about this that it starts when you open the box. When you buy a Mac, any Mac, if you buy an iMac, whatever it is, and you open the box, the very first thing you see before you actually see the product is a big cardboard cutout, and it says, designed in California by Apple, or designed by Apple in California. The very first word you see when you buy any Apple product is design. You look at it and it's just empty. It's an empty sheet with one little sentence. If Microsoft had done that first, they would go, well, why is the type so small? Why is it 24-point type? You have all this empty space. Shouldn't it say designed in California or Seattle by Microsoft?
In Comic Sans.
Let's make it 3 lines. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't. But you could look at that and go, why did Apple put a whole empty thing with one little line in 24 and it's gray? Because that speaks to the artist. That speaks to photographers. You look at that and you go, they care about this stuff. I care about this stuff. This company cares about the tools that I create my art with. And I want to read you guys something. So I went to the website, photographylife.com. Now, the guy who wrote the article, very well written article, I actually like the guy. His name is, and I'm going to mispronounce this, I'm going to apologize in advance. His name is Nassim Mansourov. And he is the founder of Photography Life, which is actually quite a great site, by the way. All right. And he says, look, I'm a PC user. I've always been a PC user. And he was an IT guy. He's built PCs from scratch and all this kind of stuff. But he says he tackled that question. Why do photographers choose Macs over Windows? So he tackled that. Now, I do want to say this, and this is important. He was an IT guy. In my life, I've known many IT guys. I've employed many IT guys. We have an IT guy now, Ron, awesome guy. I've never met an IT guy that worked for us, or I've never talked to one in my life that wasn't drawn to a PC.
Yep.
So as a Mac user, I'm drawn to this. Now, every IT guy we've ever had in the history of our company, right? So 20 years or whatever, has had the ability to have a Mac. Yep. So we're probably 90% Mac, 10% Windows, right? They have the ability to get a Mac at any time. I've never had one of our IT people badmouth Macs. I've also never had a single one of our IT people use a Mac. Every single one of them, including Ron today, greatest guy ever. Ron's awesome. Never had a single one whose main computer. You know why? Because they're drawn to a PC. The things that make a PC, it speaks to him. Yep. It speaks to every IT guy. I've never met an IT guy who had a free Mac sitting there that didn't go, you know, I really like a PC. It does things, I can customize it and I can do that. It speaks to them. There is absolutely nothing wrong with Ron choosing that. It is the right computer for him. It really is. Why should Ron, an IT guy, have to use an artist tool? It's not right.
And this,
but I want to read you this. All right.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So here's what it is. So what this guy did in the article was he went point by point, like point number 1, features, point number 2, speed, point number 3, and he went down this whole thing. And so he was going to answer the question, why photographers prefer, is a Mac better than a PC? So here's what he wrote for number 7. I'm going to read you design and aesthetics, because he went through the whole thing and he got to design and aesthetics. He goes, now this is a PC IT guy talking. He goes, I don't think there's a need to say much here, as we all know which one's going to win. Apple makes beautiful products, and sadly, I cannot think of a single PC that is as aesthetically pleasing as a Mac. When was the last time you saw a truly beautiful PC? There are some slick cases out there, but that's about it. Once you add all the ugly wiring, the thought of beautiful and simple quickly vanishes. PC manufacturers have tried every possible design, and the result is sadly one ugliness after another. The only exceptions are some PC laptops and tablets like Microsoft Surface or Dell's XPS line with carbon fiber casing. These can be beautiful, simple, and sleek to use, but in all honesty, none still beat the aesthetics of Apple products. This one is a huge win for Apple. Now, I want to say I love the author. He did a great job with this thing, except for he failed on a massive level, and people called him out for it when you say which one's better and you list all these things and you get to the bottom. Do you know what he said at the bottom of the article? Well, really, it just depends. They're both really good. If you're on an Apple, there's no real reason to switch. If you're on a PC, they're good too. Why did you even write the article? If you're going to write a comparison and you get to the end and you're just going to tell everybody, whatever you got's fine. Yeah. Why did he write the article in the first place? So here's what I did. He listed numbers. So I went back and found out which one. Some he said were ties, some the Mac one, and some Windows one. He did not surmise it, but I can count to 10. So I went. It was 9 actually. In his own article, he chose the Mac the winner 6 times to 3. In 3 cases, the PC won. In 6 cases, it was in favor of the Macs, and he's a PC guy. All right, and so this is what I'm talking about. Certain people, like this guy said, I've been a PC guy since birth. I was raised on this. Now you have a restaurant that you love in Princeton, New Jersey.
Oh yeah, New Brunswick, but
New Brunswick.
Close.
Stuff your face.
Yeah.
Have I ever been there?
Yes, you have.
How good is it?
Oh my God!
I took my family there. It is absolutely amazing. But Matt grew up with that. Right. In Matt's eyes, I don't know if Matt will ever find in the world a place that is a better Stromboli than Stuff Your Face. No, I will tell you, quite honestly, their Stromboli is sick. But we have a place down the street called Tampa Bay Brewing Company. Have you had their Stromboli?
I have.
It's really good, isn't it?
It's really
good. But will
good.
it ever be as good as Stuff Your Face?
Never.
Right. So this guy who wrote the article, he grew up with PC. All right. He grew up with PCs. And he's put them together his whole life. He's been an IT guy. He said, I've spent over $1 million. Like he had $1 million budget to buy computers and stuff. He just, at the end of the day, he's just like, I'm a PC guy. That's awesome. He knows it. He knows that it is like this is it. This is the computer for me. And photographers make that choice every single day. And most of the time, the photographers are going, this computer right here, an Apple computer, everything from the packaging. You know what else speaks to them? Because somebody wrote something here that said, and Bob Lorraine, boy, we've got some great questions here. Holy cow. Can you scroll up a little because, there it is right there. Sean wrote, so basically it boils down to marketing. Apple markets to creatives and a lot of creatives buy into it. Got it. Is that really what you took from this, Sean? Is that so you don't see the thing where the pen looks different for Microsoft and that appeals to a certain amount of people. So Microsoft's really bad at marketing. It's a mindset. This isn't marketing. Marketing is basically who we position this for. And Apple made a decision from the very beginning. This is a tool for creatives.
Microsoft marketed to artists with their latest thing. I forget what it's called, but there's
the all-in-one drawing thing.
There's the all-in-one drawing thing, and I went to the store and I used it, and it sticks with exactly what you were saying because I went to the Microsoft store, which was empty, and
it's always empty. By the way,
it's always empty. I went to the Microsoft store and I started moving around with it. So number one, little things like when I press on this screen, I don't know if you can see, when I press on this screen, there's some give, but there's a firmness to it.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, that article said, there's all these little things, some cases look cool. And then as soon as you open the case, you hear click, 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 click. Like there's all these. So I can press on the screen and there's some give to it, but it feels like the right amount of give. When I grabbed the pen and I started painting on the thing, it was like it's going like back and forth on me. It was like moving back and forth on me. And then I asked the guy, I'm like, is there a way to change this? And he's like, no. There was something that they could adjust, but they adjusted it as much as they could. And there was nothing else that they could do.
This guy's quote fits right into it. He's a guy, he says, I suspect details, fit, finish, and quality also play a role with photographers. Photographers tend to like well-executed products. And what you're describing there, it's just the right amount of give. The corners are just right. The trackpad works perfectly. It isn't a big thing. And the problem is, somebody put a great quote up here from Steve Jobs. We're going to let that go for now. But what it is, and so I want to go to Bob here. Bob Lorraine Moorcraft says, okay, I'm still confused. If we're using Lightroom and Photoshop software, why is the Mac better? Bob, the Mac is better for all these things. I'll tell you what, a guy wrote, he was writing in the same thing I'm reading, and he says, it's so hard to explain why it's better to someone who doesn't know. And this is where I wanted to talk to you about, Matt.
Can I say something to Bob really quick?
Yeah, say something to Bob.
So I want to say, Bob, so if let's just put whatever more budget-minded car drives from here to my house, and a BMW drives from here to my house, and we all have to go to the same speed limit. Why is the BMW better?
Can I give you a story on that?
Yeah.
Oh, this is great. So when I was younger, so I've always loved Mercedes. I've always looked, I don't have a Mercedes, but I've always looked at them as being so awesome. And I know the day why I like Mercedes. So when my mom and dad, so I was a very young boy. I'm going to say I'm 11, literally. I'm 11 years old. So this was like 30 years ago. I'm like 11. My mom and dad are playing bridge at these friends' house. My mom and dad they were big into bridge. We go to their house, and the guy that lives there, he was an anesthesiologist, and he lived in a fairly modest home. You know, not a rich guy, but I mean, anyway. And he bought a Mercedes. He didn't buy a top of the line Mercedes, but you got to realize this is like 1971, and he bought a Mercedes. And we go to the door. We see it outside. It looks very nice. But I'm 11 years old. I'm like, you know, I don't know anything. I got a stick in a ball of yarn, right? We go inside and we start talking, and he's like, you guys got to come out. You got to come out and see my car. And like, I'm 11 years old. I couldn't give a crap about I couldn't spell Mercedes, right? We go out there, and here's what he does. He has his wife's car, which I'm going to say was like a Cadillac, right? It was a decent car. And then he has his Mercedes. And here's what he did. He goes, listen to this. And he opens his wife's car door, and he opens it and he shuts it. And he goes, come here. And we all gather around his Mercedes door. He opens it and goes, just listen. And he closed the door. And the sound of the Mercedes door, I remember it. That was 1971. I can't remember crap. My mind is so full of passwords. I can't remember where my car keys are, what space I parked in, but I remember that sound like it was yesterday. And from that moment on, you know what I thought? That's the sound of quality. And what you're saying about driving from your house, both cars get there. They both have air conditioning. They both have leather seats, but it is an entirely different experience driving a BMW from here to your house than it is driving a Chevrolet Impala from here to your house, even if they have the identical feature set. This is what we can't explain to you.
And Bob, it may not be to you.
Oh yeah.
And in that case, don't buy one.
Yeah, don't buy one.
You know, I'm not saying you may not notice the difference in driving. You know?
Yeah.
And I know lots of people like that. You know, my wife, she's like, I don't know. Like I look at wheels on a car, and it's like I can tell the expensive ones and I can tell the cheap ones.
That's a 21-inch alloy
my wife
wheel.
My wife and I are in the parking lot, and she's like, yeah, but this one's more expensive than this one. Let's just get this one. And I'm like, but look at the wheels. Like she's like, I don't see it.
Dude, wheels matter.
But everybody's different with that stuff. So Bob, what I'd say to you is if you don't get it, if you don't understand why that drive is better, the BMW's not for you.
Yeah, and so I would say is, Bob, if they both have the same features, don't get a Mercedes. Save yourself the money and get a Ford Focus. But there are people, Bob, that will take that drive and think, this BMW, it was a different experience. It was like, I loved driving home rather than I drove home. And honestly, when I read this is one of the hardest things to articulate outside of this computer speaks to creative people. It speaks to photographers. Bob, there's a reason why so many photographers choose it, and that is it. It's all the intrinsic things that are so hard to pull out, because it's not just white and black. Yeah. There are so many things that make a great steak better than the steak at Golden Corral. There are things that are it's all the little things. And I think the BMW, honestly, is that's right. And now people will go, well, the BMW is more. Well, yes, it is. Because if you want a better experience, it's going to cost you a little bit more money. But anyway, we got to take a break because we've only covered number one.
You're going to ask me a question too.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a question. And this is about our trip, and this is really important. Don't go away. We're going to be right back. We have so many good comments. We're going to get to those too as well. So stick around, and Bob, you stick around too.
Hi, I'm Dave Cross. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my new class, Advanced Layer Techniques in Photoshop. In this class, I share some of my favorite techniques that are more advanced, more unusual, and different takes on the same way to do things in layers that you might not have seen before. Some of these are hidden tricks, some of them just are explaining things you might not have seen before, like smart objects and layer comps and just different ways to take full advantage of layers in Photoshop. So if you want to take your knowledge of layers to the next level, check out my class here exclusively on Kelby One.
My name is Kaylee Greer, and I'm a professional dog photographer. Kelby One has been monumental in this journey of mine. I have the opportunity to pull from years and combine professional experience, like the support system at the touch of a button. KelbyOne.com.
Hi, I'm Vic Selfridge, and I'm so excited to tell you about my new class on retouching. In this class, I'm going to introduce you to something we use in the industry called false color. And also, I'm going to break down retouching into its essential elements. I strongly believe that this is going to give you a proper foundation that you can build upon. So come and check out my class exclusively on KelbyOne.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Alrighty, we are back. Scott Kelby here with Matt Kloskowski. Hey, before we get started, I got a big question to ask Matt here, and a big comment here too. So look, a buddy of mine is doing a workshop in Venice, Italy. Oh my gosh, his name is Mimo Medani. He is the king of Venice. Of Venice photographers, he is their king. Lives in Venice part-time during the year. He's got a place there. He's lived there for many, many years. And he is an awesome, awesome photographer. And he has got a workshop coming up, I believe, on September 29th. It's like a 2 or 3 day workshop. And it's dirt cheap. Go to medany.com, MEIDANY.com. Let me give you that address again. MEI, like me, MEI, Danny, DANY.com. He is seriously the king. I'm like, you know how people like own a town?
Yeah.
And he is a master at long exposure photography. He is the king. He knows every little secret place. You will have so much fun. You will learn so much. There it is, Medany Studio right there. So MEIDANY. And his access, the stuff, it's awesome, and it's so inexpensive. It's a 3 day workshop. You will learn so much. You will have so much fun. So go sign up for that right there. All right.
I want to go now.
Also, we got a new class coming up. Did we show the trailer for the new class? I don't think we did. Okay. We got an awesome, incredible new class coming up. Every Thursday, we release a new class. This week's class is Newborn Photography Masterclass with Tracy Sweeney. Oh my God, do we love Tracy Sweeney.
I watched her last class.
How great is she?
Yeah, she's good.
Well, dude,
She's
we
got
went
awesome stuff.
up to her studio up in Rhode Island. Rhode Island? Yeah, it's not Connecticut. Rhode Island. I keep wanting to say Connecticut, but she lives in Rhode Island. And oh my gosh, she just crushed it. Juan, you were there. It was amazing.
Juan wanted to have a baby.
They were sending me shots. Tracy sets these things up so amazingly. They were sending me shots with their iPhones that I'm like, did you take that with your iPhone? No way you took that with your iPhone. It's going to be great, and it goes up tomorrow, so that's very excited to have that. Okay. Now, I do want to mention this because somebody mentioned this, and I want to make this clear because some people are on the Facebook feed today, and they're saying, but I love my PC. There is nothing wrong with that. The question is, why do so many photographers love Macs? And that's what we're describing. They are drawn to it. If you love your PC, you're drawn to it. But I wish I could talk to a guy who was drawn to his PC. Oh, wait, here's one now. So we spent 3 days in the desert.
Yeah.
And so what made you finally try Mac?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember how I ended up. I mean, it was when I worked here.
Now, even when we came back from Arizona, I bugged you about it all the time.
No, I'm trying. I think I had to. It was when they came out with that system for parallels or whatever. It ran both PC.
Oh, you can
and
run
Mac.
Windows, right?
And there was something that I was working on where there was a beta, something that was only on a Mac, and I was going on a trip and I needed a PC, so I borrowed a Mac and we formatted it with both PC and Windows and Apple on it. And so I kept that MacBook Pro and I kept using it, and I found myself on the Mac side of it more and more. Once I started, I mean, you probably don't remember this, but I'd go in your office. I'm like, dude, how do I do this? And you'd give me like the one up. You're like, oh, dude, not only can you do this, but you can just press this and everything goes away. I'm like, you know, and then, I mean, it's just like, I'd go into your office. I'm like, dude, how do I do this? And you'd show me, and how do I do? So if everybody had a Scott, then the switch would be easy. But I found myself over on it more and more and more. And again, it's one of those intangible things that, and I hate saying that, I never left it. I never left it because then it felt weird when I'd get over to the PC side. I'd be like, oh man, I miss how I can do this. I miss the way this feels. I miss the way it opens. I miss the way it saves. I miss all this stuff about it. And it all is very intangible. But I watched a show years ago, and it was from somebody talking about like just dishes and furniture and stuff in their house. And somebody the person on the show with them said, yeah, but you know, are these dishes really that important? Like, can't you eat off of anything? And the person said, it's the art of living. And all of these little things that you have in your life that you like the way they work, that you don't like the way they work, they influence the way that you live and how you approach all of the things. We spend a lot of time on a computer. It should feel good, you know? I had a Keurig coffee maker. I never really liked it. It was clunky. It did all these things. You know what? I don't spend a lot of time on my Keurig coffee maker. Click, click, click. I'm done. But I still never liked it. And we eventually got a new coffee maker, which I love. It's the Ninja. Can I put my Amazon affiliate link here?
Yes, Amazon affiliate link for Matt.
So
lower third.
But we spend a lot of time on a computer. It should feel good.
You should enjoy it.
When you add up all these little things, when you add up the camera that you like, you know, the camera that you like, when you pick up another camera, it doesn't feel right. When you add up the phone that you use, I tried to use an Android. I really did, because I got a hold of one of the ones with the great cameras in it.
Right.
And I really, really tried to use it because I wanted to use it. I wanted to like it. And just the way it swiped between screens felt off. It might not feel off to you. Then you shouldn't care. Your art of living is in a different way than mine is. But all of these things, these devices, these things, they should feel good, and there is an art to that. And so to the person that said, you know, I don't see anything that justifies the cost, then you haven't seen that art, and that's not bad.
Yeah, you probably have not seen anything that justifies the cost of a BMW. But what you're talking about, Matt, with the art of living or whatever,
Yeah. So you said it's the art of living.
You described it right there, because there were people that look at their tool as a car, literally as a tool. I get it from point A to point B. And some people think, oh, well, the only reason why you buy a BMW is because it's a status symbol. Absolutely. There are other cars you buy to be a status symbol. It's not a thing. You don't buy a BMW. I mean, somebody probably does.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. But a BMW, it's I've had a BMW. It is an entirely different driving experience. Like Calibra loves BMW. She doesn't have a BMW, but she's a BMW girl. She would love to always have a BMW. BMWs, there is an intrinsic value that is very, very hard to someone looking at a list of features. You know, like Bob is like, I just don't understand why it's better. You know why, Bob? Because you've never driven a BMW. If all you've ever driven is a Ford Focus and you're like, this is fine, it's got air, it's got great. It's also the reason why you can buy a $140,000 Tesla, but nobody wants to buy the Chevy Volt or the Chevy Bolt. Now, you can go and read all kinds of reviews on Road and Track where they'll go, oh, the Chevy, I think the new one is the Bolt. The Chevy Bolt, it's the Tesla killer and all. Nobody's buying it. Everyone went and bought the Tesla. They're willing to wait 2 years to get the Tesla. Why? You can get a Chevy Bolt today. And it's got basically the same amount. It actually has more miles. It actually has better features in some case, but people are going to wait. Do you know why they're waiting for the Tesla? because of how it looks, how the screens look, how the interior looks, how the outside looks. Do you know why? The people that signed up for a Tesla that could have today a Chevy Bolt, how it looks matters. They're willing to pay more money, and they're willing to wait, and they're willing to do all these things because they love the look of it. They love the idea of it. They love how it's crafted. They love that inside the Series 3, there's nothing. There's no knobs. There's not a single freaking knob on the dashboard. It's one simple screen. And the screen looks like it was designed by Apple.
And just to help demonstrate our point, that's one of those things, and who knows, maybe I'll change one day, but that's one of those things that I don't get.
Yeah.
And now, but I can appreciate
You're
it.
a
But
Jeep
like
guy.
having, yeah, like if you gave me a Tesla today, I would go take it somewhere, sell it, and go buy Jeep Wrangler.
Don't tell Serge that. Serge just bought a Tesla last week. I got to ride in it. Awesome.
But that's, again, the art of living. That's,
Right.
That's how I see myself.
All right.
That's what
so
I want to.
Is it wrong that you don't see the advantage of a Tesla?
No.
Exactly. Is it wrong that people that are photographers like a PC?
No, not at all.
But you need to understand why,
Yeah.
and it's okay.
Just answer the question why.
Yeah,
We're not trying to swing you over.
No, we're not. All right. And so Stephen
Jen's
Getz
giggling over there.
Stephen Getz is doing the, he's doing the features thing. It used to be that Macs were mass stable, but now I hear horror stories of crashes and all. Can I tell you a story, Stephen? This is honest to God truth. My brother Jeff, I bought him a Mac years ago. He had it for a few years, and he calls me up, no kidding, and he goes, "How would I know if my Mac crashed?" I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Like, what happens when it crashes?" I go, "Well, it either freezes and the screen doesn't work, or it just shuts down." That's never happened to you? He goes, "No." I go, "Have you ever restarted your Mac?"
Was I supposed to?
You've never restarted your Mac? No, it's just sat there and ran for years, and he used it every day. So, but Stephen, when we talk about that stuff, you're getting off the topic. That stuff isn't what it's about. It's not about whether one crashes, the other crashes, because we can do this all day long. If you give me 500 people that say their PCs never crash, I'll give you 500 people. It's not about that. And if you go down that rabbit hole, you are definitely not a Mac user. Mac users don't care about the specs. They want a fast computer. But you could go and ask, like you can just go and ask people and go, "What are the specs of your Mac?" Nobody knows. I couldn't tell you the specs of my Mac. Nobody knows. How many gigs of RAM do you have? There you go. It doesn't matter to us. But because there's other things that are more important. Now, we're running out of time. I got to go through some other things. I want to read you a great quote. This quote is from E.J. Fudd, and I saw it on DP Review. He wrote, and this is really important, "The quality of your photography will not be improved by buying a Mac, but the joy of working with those images will be."
Yes. Yes.
And how do you describe it? Brings you joy when it does the same stuff. It's Photoshop, it's Lightroom. And that's the thing that you have to experience. And this is something that Matt said after he switched. He came in my office one day, he sat down, and he goes, "Dude, I've completely switched over to the Mac." He goes, "Honestly, I just had no idea. I just really didn't understand. When we were driving through the desert for days and you're arguing with me and Bill's arguing with me and the two of you were ganging up on me," he goes, "I just didn't get it. And now I get it."
Yeah.
And now I get it. And so Matt had that. And now I will say, I don't have a touch bar. So Justin asked, "Do you use the touch bar, Scott?" This is a 2012 Mac. 2012. I don't have Kloskowski money. I got a 2012. I'll be running this thing for 5,000 years. Matt's got a printing press where he freaking just prints money. Anyway.
Yeah, yes, Justin, I do use the touch bar, and I'm probably one of the only people I like it. Like, I like the touch bar. Everybody bashed it, but
Yeah.
I like the touch bar. I use it all the time. People bashed all kinds. Like, I got the new Mac, and people were switching from Mac to PC when these things came out, and I'm probably the least techie person. I like it. It just works. You know,
It just works. Okay.
But you said something. Because I wrote an article about because I used to shoot Nikon and then I switched over to Sony, and I wrote an article about that. And then people always come up to me and they're like, "Matt, I've been thinking of getting a Sony and this and that." And And the one thing I always is exactly what this person said is my photos are no better shooting the Sony than when I shot a Nikon or when I shot any other camera out there. My photos are no better. My experience of taking the photos feels better. The menu system, the way it works, things that work, the electronic viewfinder, some people hate it. I love it.
God, I hate electronic viewfinder.
But the experience feels better. And Melanie had said something above a little bit. She said, I agree with that. Apple's cooler looking, but PC is easier to use. Melanie, that's probably because you use a PC. You know, when I switched over to Sony, everybody would be like, oh, yeah, I heard the menus are so hard to use. Yeah, it's because you're talking to a Sony switcher. You know, we used another camera probably for the better part of 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Yes, the menu system's going to feel weird. I could tell you today, after using it for 2 years, I don't even think about the menu system.
Of course not.
It doesn't even cross my mind.
Same thing when I switched from Nikon to Canon. I had to make that choice. And then a few weeks later, you don't even think about it anymore. You know, it becomes second nature. So we have a couple of things here, but I want to read you now these other things pale in comparison to what we've already talked about, which is this is a tool that speaks to photographers, and that is why I believe so many photographers use it. And you can talk to photographer after photographer after photographer, not just Matt. You can talk to them, and everybody will pretty much tell you the same thing. There's something about it, and it's the hardest thing to describe. Just like, how could you get a BMW user to describe why it's so much better to drive from your house, from the office to your house? It is that intrinsic value is the hardest thing to describe because you just have to experience it. It happened with Mac. And it happened we have a VP in the company who made Matt look like a casual PC user.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
He's what I would call the violent, aggressive PC user. He would get so mad at me, he would turn red in the face, and he was like, oh my God. And it was like Macs were, in his mind, Macs were literally a toy. He built his own, he made his own PC, he built his own stuff. He grew up with it. He wrote books on it, right? He was Mr. PC. And then one day, for whatever reason, he liked the specs of the Mac that let you run the Windows. And he ran Windows in there. And of course, I go by his office. I'm like, what's that on your desk? And I'm just, needling him because that's what guys do because we're stupid. Anyway, I needled him about it. And one day, he had what we call the Kloskowski walk, where he came to my office and said, dude, I freaking switched. I'm just switched. You're right. It's better. I had no idea. Do you know how many times in my life I've heard that story? That once someone actually does it and they make the move. Now, there's got to be people who buy a Mac and go, this just isn't for me. That's just, I don't get it. It's clunky. It's hard. There are absolutely people. Because you know why? It's not for you. It's not for you. It's not for every person on earth. Now, Moose Peterson just chimed in. Moose is a PC user. Oh, I didn't know. I thought you were just straight. All right. Moose says there are weird folks like me who have both platforms and uses both every day. And I thought, Moose, you were just 100% PC. Yeah. But can I tell you something about Moose? Moose is not your average bear. And here's why. Moose is the guy, and you know this. Moose will go in his camera and do stuff inside his body that I would never do. Like Moose does all kinds of really complicated. He understands like the working of a camera and all.
Like to tinker.
He likes to tinker. Yeah. I could say, I could see when you talk about a PC user, I could see how Moose is conflicted. One side speaks to because he likes to tinker and get in there and do all this, and he's very, very smart. And at the same time, his creative side is arguing with him and going, let's get a Mac. So I'm happy to hear he has both platforms because Moose is a very unusual guy because Moose understands business, which is one person, and he understands photography, which is another. He does wildlife. He does aviation. Moose is all over the map. He is, and he's just a brilliant person. I could totally see him using a PC. I thought he was only PC. But anyway, Moose is an exception because Moose is like a unicorn. Anyway, people go, oh, look.
I always think of Moose like that.
Who doesn't? Big horn. Anyway, yeah. All right. So back to our story. We got to get through these next ones because we're already over time. So the big overarching thing, I hope you guys, and you have to have an open mind to this. All I'm hoping at the end of this is that you have a better insight into why so many photographers choose Macs. When you come to Photoshop World next year, May 31st, June 1st, 2nd. Go look at all the instructors. Go look at them all. And maybe Moose will bring his Mac.
It's just answering the question.
There'll be 2 people there, maybe 3 that have it. And you'll see 30 other photographers all using Macs. And they are drawn to it. Now, here's another thing. These are more, well, one's kind of out there, but I really strongly believe it. Here's the other thing. The monitors on Macs are incredibly consistent. Like if I look at an image on mine and then I go over to Jen's and I go here and I go to Juan's desk, the image looks pretty much the same everywhere you go. Now, let's ask a question. Matt, when was the last time you calibrated your monitor?
The last time I had to do a class on it. The last time I had to teach it.
Well, see, that's interesting that you say that, because that was the last time I calibrated my monitor.
Yeah.
I have not calibrated my monitor in years. Now, if you go to make a print, now we have printers, we have Canon printers, we have Epson printers, we've got every printer you can imagine. We have printing rooms. We have entire rooms with printers that are bigger than this desk. When I go to make a print, not brightness-wise, because you know it's always going to be, and I fix that in Lightroom. Lightroom has a little brightness thing just for printing that just brightens the print as it goes to press. Do you know how close my screen is to what comes out of the printer color-wise with no calibration? Has to be less than 3% to 5%.
Yeah,
what do you think?
Yeah, as long as you pick the right profile for the paper.
You pick the right profile for the paper without doing anything to your screen. So I think that is a thing that photographers go, the screens are awesome. They're super crisp. They're super bright, but their calibration really is not something you have to do a whole bunch.
And part of that,
well, for me and Mac, once every 3 years, whether we need to or not.
And part of that goes to why a diehard PC user hates a Mac. Why a very techie tinker type of person hates a Mac, and that's because it's closed. You can't change many things in here. There's not many graphics cards.
Change the contrast of your screen.
Yeah, there's so many things you
can make it brighter, but you can't change contrast.
Yeah, and even between the phone and the computer and the tablet and all that stuff, it's just they match.
And the screens look the same. They look the same on your iPad as your phone, as your computer screen. The images looks the same pretty much everywhere you go. All right, that's one. This next one, you're going to think I'm crazy.
He's crazy.
I may not even say it now.
I'll say it.
No, can I tell you something? This is going to sound weird, but it feeds into all of this. And this goes back a while, though. The font that Apple uses for whatever they're doing, whether it's packaging, whether it's their website, whether it's the actual OS, that font is beautiful, and it speaks to Mac users. For all these years, remember how Windows had the underlined, like an under, if the shortcut was W, it underlined it. Mac users would look at that and go, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And it was like offensive. Like Mac users would be like, God, that's awful. It's gotten better. Their font has gotten better. It's not as good as Adobe's font. Adobe has its own font, their own custom, but it's a custom version of Myriad. You know what it's called?
Is it,
come on. You know this.
Garam?
No. It's Adobe something.
Oh, I don't know.
It's Adobe Clear. Oh, I'm sorry. Is it Adobe Clean? No, Adobe Clear. It's called Adobe Clear. And it's such a clean, perfect font.
Fonts don't matter to me, so I don't.
But Adobe is a design company. They should have an awesome font, and it looks very close to Apple's font. Their font is so close to Apple's font, if I wrote them on screen side by side, you would not be able to tell the difference. Okay. Now, number 4, this is big. Photography software usually comes out for Mac first. And it may not come to Windows at all. Why does photography software, for example, let's just mention Photoshop was first on Mac. Lightroom, first on Mac. Luminar, first on Mac.
Affinity,
first on Mac. On one? You would know.
I don't know.
He doesn't know. You know what? If I wanted to know, I'd call Matt. All right.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm almost certain it was there. Nick Color Effects? Mac.
Let's go with it.
How about Mac Fun? There's a whole company, right? Their whole company is Mac Fun, right? And their stuff is all Mac, except for now, like a year later, they have one plugin of all of their awesome stuff, and they are like the leaders now, right? They've got all their they got all the Nick. So the guys from Nick went and made their own company. So basically, the world is on one, and Mac Fun. That's the world of plugins today. And Topaz. They're actually make some pretty good stuff. All right. So all their stuff is Mac, and they're making their first beta now, right? They have the first beta of a Windows program. Yeah. So if you're a Windows user, you know what it is? It's like buying an Android phone. When you bought your Android phone, you knew you were either not going to get the app
apps
ever,
first or ever,
right?
Yeah.
You know, tons of Adobe apps.
Oh yeah,
tons of it, like the Adobe, like what are those ones? The Adobe, the Post, Spark, and all that. None of those are available for Windows. There's all kinds of stuff. Go look at the tablet version of Lightroom. Dude, it's like so far behind. It's like it was an afterthought.
So, and I did some homework. On this before coming in here today. So I looked at the Google Analytics for my website, and I wanted to say, because there's obviously more Android phones out there than iPhones,
right?
But the analytics for the website had it was like 70% iOS.
Absolutely.
For devices. The computer system, operating system is almost about 50-50. But for devices?
Yep.
It's almost like 75% or so are all on iOS. So,
we're drawn to it. Photographers
but
are
that's
drawn
where
to it.
and that's who the apps come out for first.
Absolutely.
And that's not just us saying, like, dude, just look at any article out there.
All right,
they all
but
talk
Peter
about
Schmidt
it.
says, sorry guys, but this is not about professional business creatives. Apple doesn't make your business more profitable, so why spend the extra money? Peter, have you not been listening today, Peter? Peter, and you're such a nice guy. We love you, Peter. We really do. But Peter, I don't know how to explain it to you any more than we've already explained it to you, because you know what you're doing, Peter? You're doing what every PC guy does. Peter, you need to stay on your PC, because if you go through all this and you don't think that there's a product that's better, you're like, I'm sorry, guys, this is business. I would be delivering my pizzas in a Ford Focus. If I had the opportunity to spend more and deliver them in a BMW, I don't care. I'd still do it in a Ford Focus.
And it goes back to what I said before, too, the art of living. The coffee machine, the dishes, whatever it is, it doesn't, for the most part, those coffee machines don't make something better. It's just different.
And Peter, can I tell you something? Peter, take a look. Because you know what it is? I also will have people go, oh, apples are for elitists, right? Oh, it costs more. That's the whole cost more thing, which is what Peter's talking about here. Peter, let's go look. Look on my screen here. Peter, here we go. All right, Peter. This is a Canon 6D. This is the entry-level full frame for Canon. Entry-level, not the high-end. Canon makes $6,000. They make $4,000 ones. This is the entry-level, $1999. All right, let's go to Apple's iMac. $12.99. Peter, you don't have $12.99 to every day? It's like what that guy wrote when I read his quote, where he talked about it won't make your pictures better, but it'll sure give you more joy when you're editing them.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it to you. You'll spend $1,900. Let's go over here and look at the Nikon D750. $1,796. Can we pull it up on screen? $1,700. Oops, sorry, it's the wrong one. Why isn't it showing my screen? Did it freeze on the wrong thing? Try it again. Weird, because I'm on a completely different screen. I'm looking at a Nikon on here. But the Nikon D750 is $1,796. That's what we pay just for the body. If you want a decent lens, you're talking about double this. And now when it comes to this tool, you're just going to get the cheapest. Why spend the extra money?
And somebody's probably going to shoot me for saying this, but I would buy the camera that's $1,000 less any day over switching from this.
Oh, sure, absolutely, hands down.
Because I know that I can make a great picture with the camera that still costs $1,000 less than that, because it's still a great camera. But I won't give up the experience of editing my photos.
Yeah, you could go buy a D7100, a D7000, any of those. They will make
put it into the hands
picture.
of the right person. They'll make a great picture.
Absolutely. All right. So, So that's that. The other thing I wanted to mention. Okay, so there's that. So, Peter, also, you'll save a little bit of money, but you won't have a lot of plugins. You won't have a lot of software, and companies like Adobe will basically give you your stuff last if they give it to you at all. All right, next. And so I got one more thing here. We got just a couple more. We're already well over. All right.
Are we ever not?
There. Well, this goes back to one thing is like, you know what it is? I have an IT department, and Ron's here. So Ron's a PC guy. He is our IT guy. He's over in the booth. If I asked Ron, how many times have I called you in to fix my Mac in the last year? I don't know if Ron's come in the last year.
Yeah.
Right? I can maintain my own Mac, and I'm not a nerd. You know what it is I want a hassle-free computer. I don't want to have to maintain all this stuff. I can do it. I've been using Macs forever. I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with viruses. I don't want to deal with spyware. I don't want to deal with installation problems. I don't want to deal with drivers. I just want it all to work. Matt said it. It just works. I just want it all to work. I don't have time to deal with that stuff. Number five is the Apple Store. Going physically to the Apple Store. You go to the Apple Store, an Apple person will sit there with you one-on-one, just like Matt and I are sitting, and they will teach you how to use Final Cut, how to use your Mac, how to use any of their software. The Genius Bar is amazing. And you know what? This is honest to God truth to let you know where people are at with this. I was at the Apple Store a few weeks ago. Dude, there had to be 150 people there.
Dude, it's insane.
150 people. So I take just a pano. I go, I just, after all these years, it is the most crowded store in a giant mall. I take a pano and I go, look at this. I just can't believe how many people are here. That's all I said. I didn't say Microsoft sucks, PCs suck, nothing. I never mentioned the word PCs. I just go, I can't believe how many people are here. Do you know what the comments said on Facebook? Number one, I'm not making this up. Apple paid people to be there, that those people were shills. Number two, most of the people there are employees. Now, in that same mall, you know the mall I'm talking about, there's a Microsoft store. About 15 minutes later, going to meet my daughter and my wife, I go past the Microsoft store. Now, there's 150 people in the Apple store. And the Microsoft store, by the way, is designed to look just like the Apple store. It is a dead ripoff of it. How many people are in the Microsoft store? I can count them. 4. 4 people in the Microsoft store. Being able all over the country to go to the Apple store and they'll fix your stuff and they treat you right. Dude, I've had times where I made mistakes and I did things wrong and they're like, you know what, we're just going to take care of it for you. Honestly, their service is outstanding. It really, really is. Yeah. They're the way they help you, and you can just go and ask questions, and they'll sit with you, and they act like you're the most important person in the world. They do have a lot of employees in an Apple store, but you get one-on-one. You get service at the Apple store you don't get anywhere. If you need an hour with them, they will smile and act like this has been the greatest hour of my life. Do you know that when you wait, like I had to wait for an appointment, right? So my daughter's iPad was cracked.
Yeah, of course.
The first thing the guy does, comes up, introduces himself, shakes my hand, like, hey, thank you so much for coming in. How can I help you? You know, let's get you taken care of. Here, let's go sit down. And we're sitting down. He's talking to me like we were friends forever. And by the way, he doesn't know me. He's not like, oh, Scott Kelby. He's like Mr. Kelly. You know, he doesn't know me from Jack. But it really is an amazing experience. I think it's the best retail experience ever. Now, I'm sure if I went to the Windows store, they would be so thrilled to see a customer. They would give me plenty of help. They'd be right on me. There's plenty of people standing around with nothing to do. I would get great service too. So I'm sure that but it is stunning to go in the same mall. There were more people in the Tesla store. I'd never seen that.
Oh yeah, the Tesla store is always packed. The Tesla store is always packed. Yeah.
Always packed. There were 10 times more people in the Tesla store looking at $100,000 cars than there were at the Microsoft store. All right. I want to get to some of your comments, and I've got...
I love Rob Foley's.
Oh, yeah, Rob.
For the record, the grid set looks like a PC. Kind of does.
And there's PCs back there, right? Yeah. No, it's all run by Macs. There's some Dell monitors. Yeah. So those
there's a PC. I see a Dell.
Is there? Oh, no, it's just a prop.
Oh,
yeah. Those 2 Dell monitors, yeah, those are props. All right. So what did I want to say? There was one last thing. Okay, so here's what I want you to think about now that you've gone through this whole journey with me and Matt today. So I want you to think about this. If it's not these things that we talked about today, if it's not that creative people are drawn to this. If I showed you the difference between the Surface Pen and the Apple Pen, and you just go, I don't know, they look like pens. So here's the thing. Moose says, now you're pushing it. The Genius Bar is marvelous. What do you think about Genius Bar?
Once they come help me, they're great. Their timing has at least a little bit. If I have a 2:30 appointment, I don't get help until like 3.
Well, it's like going to a restaurant. If they have a space available, you get in. If not, all right.
But you're right. The service is excellent.
Rob Sylvan says the Apple Store is a very nice Mac benefit. And so what Rob is saying here, Moose, is eat it. Is what that Rob's words, not mine. Rob said, tell Moose, eat it, right? Eat it. So it's not us, Moose. Totally Rob. Okay.
I actually use some profanity.
All right. So here's the thing. If it's not specs, why? Like Mac is not better. We're telling you right now, don't expect like, oh, it's so much faster. It's none of that crap. It's not specs. And the monitor on a Dell laptop looks great. The monitor here looks great. They're consistent between Macs and your phone and your thing, but the monitors look great. If it's not specs and it's not the speed, and it's not any of the things that we talked about today, which we're telling you as photographers, and we've talked to many, many, many photographers, then what is it? Is it the elitist thing where we're spending more money to show people we have more money? Is that where we're at? Is that how it is? It's like the guy writes on Facebook. One guy writes on Facebook, sheep, right? Another guy writes lemmings. Another guy writes, just when you just mentioned this, when I said the Microsoft,
but Pete, there's people that hate Apple just to hate Apple. Like there's people that do it, and then, so you almost have to count them out of the conversation.
You know, I saw a thing. It was on USA Today, and it was a graph of people that didn't buy an iPhone, and they bought an Android. Do you know what the number one reason they stated for not buying an iPhone was?
I hate Apple.
They hate Apple. Yeah. I just don't like that company. They're snobby or whatever it is. They didn't buy it because it's not a good phone or it's not a great experience or whatever. They didn't buy it because they're mad at Apple for whatever reason. And why the hell are you mad at some company got nothing to do with you? And, like I'm mad at Lexus.
I know we have to go, but I have an answer to that because I think a lot of people will respond to this. I don't think they hate Apple, the company. I think what they've run into is an Apple fan person.
Oh, a fanboy.
That just like, the people that are lined up at the Apple and they're cheering in front, or they're talking about like they can't talk about how they won't recognize a flaw. They won't recognize anything. Like they've run into the total fanboy that says there is no other way. And they've run into that person and that sours their experience. And I know this is true because years ago, I used to hate the term art. I never wanted to be called an artist. And honestly, I still don't consider myself an artist.
I've seen your work. I don't consider you one either.
But I've hated
nobody. Come on, that was a good one.
I've hated
nothing.
I've hated the term artist, and it wasn't until where I understood why I hated it. It wasn't until somebody told me, they're like, you don't necessarily hate being an artist or hate art or anything like that. You've had a bad experience with people that call themselves artists.
Yes.
You've had that experience of
Hey, Matt.
I won't use some of the words.
I think I know the person that gave you that bad thing.
So.
Am I right?
I don't have to talk about it after.
All right.
There was so many people, but I did, and I had bad experiences with people standing behind artists. The word, and that's why I started saying I hate artists. I hate artists. Like I don't consider myself one.
And you know what?
Somebody's going to take that quote way out of context. Matt says he hates artists.
There was a time where I would go back and say I was a bit of a fanboy for sure. I mean, I started a Macintosh magazine many, many years ago. But I'll say this: the people that wait in line at the Apple store, like they're there overnight, those are fanboys. And do you know why those don't exist on the Windows platform? Because there's never a line at the Microsoft store.
Yeah, it doesn't instill that fandom.
I got these great jokes and no one's getting them. It's just, come on.
Well,
anybody? Juan, Jen, nobody. Oh, Jen was not even listening.
No.
All right, we're so far
out already.
We're so over. What I'd like to do is I got a bunch of comments. We're going to read them and just go to the very top. We're going to rip through them. We'll answer if there's anything left, but we're so far over. It's like insane. So can you scroll way up there? So Jen is in charge of being mean to people. And
I think we got a lot. I think we got most of them.
oh, did we get most of them?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, Moose says, Scott, you got me on Mac 6 years ago. I run Windows 7 and only have it for printing, which is now short-term with Epson Print. See, you learn new stuff about Moose is like an onion. You keep peeling layers away, and there's another layer of stuff.
Underneath.
There is, and there's a unicorn when you get low. Larry says, I tell you, I love Apple hardware, but I don't trust any Apple software besides the OS for my business. They update stuff that kills compatibility. Consider Aperture, iMovie, Final Cut, GarageBand. Hey, the Larry B. Oh, it's Larry B.
Yeah,
Larry, I freaking agree with everything single thing that you said. They ruined iMovie. They ruined Final Cut Pro. Your comment's gone, but everything that you said, Larry.
Aperture was a good program.
Aperture was a good program. You know what it is? They'll go down a road and then they decide it's time to re-look at it and dumb it down. And when they go and dumb it down, they ruin it. iMovie used to be so awesome and they ruined it. All right. Let's see. Rob Foldy says, can we also discuss how long Macs last versus PCs? Rob Foldy? No, we may not. But Rob Foldy, we love you because you're Rob Foldy. Who doesn't love Rob Foldy? Can I get a consensus? Yep. It's just a love fest for Rob Foldy. All right. Glenn says it's simpler than all this. I never had a PC that didn't have software issues, corruption, viruses within weeks of opening the box. I'm using a MacBook Pro, 8 years old. Not a single problem. Not a single virus, not a single corruption. You have to be an IT guy to keep a PC working. I'll never go back. Well, that addresses number 4 when I said, I just want it to work. I don't want to have to, and if you're a PC guy and you know how to keep all your stuff running.
It's no problem.
It's nothing to you.
Yeah.
It's like, I do not, it's nothing. I go in there and I configure the driver and it's like nothing.
You're the kind of person that likes to tinker.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should stay with it. All right. Any other questions? Or are we good? All right, where do you go to enter the contest to win stuff like the Immaculate? This is Mac only, by the way. Mac only Platypod, right here,
iOS in it. It's
all right, Matt. I got to tell you about a new amp I got. The Boss Katana, and it uses software to load Boss effects into the. Anyway, so we're gonna go to kelby1.com/webcast. Tell us what you want to win. You can win the Platypod Max. That is the tripod support. That is, it's like a tripod, but it's flat for pros, or the Ultra, which is for smaller cameras. And then we've got, we're going to give away Matt's book. Hey, so Matt wrote a book. Matt's written many books. But Matt's book right here, Compositing Secrets, the best book on compositing ever. I'm not just saying that because he's here. I've said it a million times. He wrote the best book on compositing. There are techniques in here that are gold. We're going to give one of the...
If you had to guess how long that book came out, what would you say?
Oh, dude, that's got to be 6 years old, 7 years old?
It's 6 years old this month.
Dude, that's still... They didn't change Photoshop. It all still works.
No, it all still works.
It all still works. All right. And we're going to give away a copy. Nick in it. We're going to give away a copy of an amazing book. This comes out this week. It comes out, I believe they're showing the 31st. Now, you never know because, they move the ship date on Amazon every 5 minutes. But Takeoff, this is a fabulous book from Moose Peterson. Apparently has a lot more Mac than I thought, so I like the book better. But if you're into aviation photography and you've been dying for Moose to have a book, and there's a lot of people because there's a lot of back orders, we're giving away a copy of Takeoff. And we'll actually have... You may. All right, next.
Does they take off A? Do you know what that's from?
Yes, it's from that thing. Okay, last but not least, and least is this. What was the other thing? We're not giving away the
Lens
shoes.
ProtoGo gift card. Or can I keep that?
Oh, and a Lens ProtoGo. No, you may not keep that. Lens ProtoGo gift card right here. Just go in there, tell us which gift you want. We'll pick winners. Jen will shred your names. And that's it. So, guys, I want to congratulate those of you who had an open mind today. Because we didn't.
Most everybody did.
I think we had a. Now, Jen was kind of sorting over there. How did it go over there, Jen?
She giggled a lot.
It was a very controversial topic. But what are they going to say? Because the topic wasn't our Mac. See, this is it. The topic was not are Macs better than PC. The topic was why photographers use Macs. You can stick a PC guy here. It doesn't answer the question. That would be why do PC users use PCs. I got that all day long. I just go see Ron. There are photographers that use, there's a lot of photographers. However, that was not the question or the topic. Because what Jen's saying is there's a lot of photographers that use PC. Well, of course they are. They sell more PCs than Macs. However, that was not the question posed. The question posed was, why do so many pro photographers use Macs? Having a PC person here, might as well ask them why so many people you drive BMWs. It won't help. This is a Mac question. Matt was the perfect guy to have here because he was a PC user. He made the switch. Plus, I just like Matt.
You guys just made me feel bad.
You made Matt feel bad, and that should make you feel bad.
You and Bill.
Hey, remember? Oh, we did back in the day. Do you remember how people used to say, you're always picking on Matt? People used to go on the grid and go, why are you always picking on?
No, this was back in the Photoshop user days.
Yeah. Well, Matt, we're only 30 minutes over.
And
funny,
they
cut us off on Facebook right now. That's it.
Gone.
That's it. Well, guys, thank you all for watching. And just understand, just a reminder, what was our topic today? Was it why are Macs better than PCs? No. What was our topic? Our topic was, why do so many pro photographers use Macs, which I think we covered to freaking death today. No sense in having a PC user sitting here to defend it because it's not about what PCs do or don't do. And Diana says, and I think I would have to agree with Diana. Diana says, Matt looks hot. And you know what it is? It's
I got to introduce myself.
It's the lighting in here, Diana. It's warm. Matt's sweating. Oh, you mean the other hot. Oh. Yeah, because she put like a
Can you get her number for me?
There's a naughty face.
Can you get
Oh, her last name, Kloskowski?
Yeah.
Kloskowski? God, you ought to marry her. She's already got your last name.
I know.
Dude, you need to hook up with her.
Do you know there was a model, Diana Kloskowski?
Really?
Yeah, I went to get Diana a Twitter name at Diana Kloskowski, and there was somebody that already had it was a model. Unfortunately, she passed away. But
Alex Corbett says, I won Matt's book back in the nap days. Awesome book, Matt.
Thank you.
Unsolicited testimony from Alex Corbett. Thank you very much, Alex. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Next week, who do we have on the show next week? Jen? Rick, Salmon, and Trey, or just Trey? Or Rick and Trey? Definitely Rick and maybe Trey. Maybe Trey Ratcliffe next week. Could be a wild show. You know what we're going to talk about? Why Trey doesn't use a PC. Why Rick doesn't use a PC.
I think Trey uses a PC, doesn't he?
Dude, come on, look at his work. He's awesome. Come on, I had to get one in. Give me one.
That was good. I think Trey uses a PC.
Sure he does. All right. Guys, thank you very much. Matt Kloskowski, where can people go learn more about you?
MattK.com.
MattK.com. And do you have like pictures of you like running in a field with your hair blowing and all that kind of stuff there?
With a Mac, yeah.
Holding up a Mac, running, waving in, you know. All right, everybody. And Juan, thanks for staying late. Meredith in the booth. Meredith's probably blown her brains out by now. Meredith's like, shoot me.
Get off.
All right.
That's what happens. We haven't been on the grid in a while, so it's
an hour and a half
to catch
over.
up.
Yeah, there's a lot of catching up. All right, everybody, take care. We'll see you guys next week right here on the grid. Get your Flashbook shoes at Vans.
Bye.
They're right there on the shelf for everyone to see.
Pre-order mine.
This segment of the grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.